Welcome to episode 3 of Save Nightlife, a visual podcast presented by Egg London, highlighting the desperate situation that Egg and many other venues all around the UK are finding themselves in currently. In this series, we're looking at the cultural importance of nightclubs and venues across the UK. Egg has launched a crowdfunder with support from the Nighttime Industries Association and the Music Venues Trust. If you can spare anything, the link to donate is below. On tonight's episode, I'm joined by two of the most in-demand guys in the industry, YOUSEF and Jansons. How are we doing, guys?
Good.
Thanks, Ben.
Good. Great to have you on the episode. Let's start with a little talk about Egg itself. What does Egg as a club mean to you guys? Let's start with YOUSEF.
For me, it was a real surprise when I first started playing Egg. It was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, probably maybe longer, actually. And what I mean by that is I've been playing Ministry and Fabric a couple of times and even Back in the End and stuff like that. But then it has the same magic that you get up north, as in it's a bit more loose with people in there in terms of like it's a real range of people, and you have that energy of it going off like it does when you play in Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, Glasgow. And I was like, wow, because people I've noticed in London prior to that tend to kind of hold back a little bit.
More reserved.
A bit more reserved. And okay, at the time, it may not have had the technical side of what it's gone on to reach in terms of kind of the quality of sound and things, but the energy, that's something that you can't get off a shelf anywhere. So yeah, I really, really like it for those reasons. And of course, Ali and the guys that run it are top class. Yeah.
Jansons, what about you?
Well, when I first started coming to London, I was like having a house share in Luton. We used to come into King's Cross a lot when like clubs like the Cross in the end, the Key were there. And the Egg was like, the first time I discovered Egg was like an after party. Jade used to do the after parties there. I was like, what's this? It's like another party starting again, sort of thing. And as soon as I started going more and more out in London, me and my friends, like promoters, started doing nights in Egg. I used to play there. I used to always play like in the middle room. I think I've played in every corner in the middle room. They change the DJ booth around all the time. And then, just recently had some great gigs there, like what YOUSEF was saying. I actually played, I think last time I played was with you, wasn't it, for your album thing?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Actually, yeah. So it's been a big part of my sort of clubbing journey since I've been around the London area.
Yeah, and YOUSEF, you've been running your own events there for a while as well, right?
Yeah, we were doing them for 4 or 5 years, and again, what I faced, because we had a kind of the pick of the bunch of who's a book in Liverpool, and I faced a lot of hurdles for getting the same people to play at Egg because of, oh no, not Egg, I play Fabric, I play this, I play that. Like, come on, guys, hook a brother up, so to speak. So bit by bit, I managed to get people like, I got Darius Sarossi in, and he loved it, and then Steve Lawler, and then Laurent Garnier. And then I started to get like a lot of people in that had never played Egg before. And all of them had the same experience as me. Like, oh, I see.
This
yeah, okay.
Great.
It might be a bit rough around the edges and a bit more organic and a bit more DIY in places. But like I say, in terms of the crowd response and where you can go with the music, I was like, because that's the ethos of circus in itself. It's all about great music and people having a good time and people being made to feel welcome. And I even said that to the doorman when I first started doing the nights there. I said, look, I'm not too sure what the situation is, and I don't mean to be patronising, but anyone who comes to a circus party, say hello, how are you doing? Come in, have a great night. The basics, make them feel welcome. And I think that's why we lasted for quite a number of years.
Yeah, great. And just, I guess, talking a little bit more generally about venues and clubs all around the UK now. Obviously, it's been a tough year for everyone in the industry, but particularly venues feel like they've been hit the hardest. Just kind of in your experience, how important are these clubs to our UK culture? Jansen, you want to go for it? You want to grab that?
Massively. Like that's how all my friendships are built, and that's how I met my partner. That's all my friends. Like, yeah, that's how I've met all over the UK. I've got loads of friends like down in London now, from Manchester, Liverpool as well, like everywhere. And I've met not only that internationally as well. When I was like going out loads every weekend, like meeting with friends, like meeting new people. I was meeting people from all around the world. It's like a big community. It's amazing. Yes, really important.
Absolutely. And, further from that, I mean, of course, of everyone I know as well, both professionally and personally, for the most part, it's the most important cultural phenomenon musically of all time. It's more significant than any kind of other genre, like disco to punk, to any of those things in terms of kind of the width. And like, of course, with the UK was almost like the nucleus for the acid house and house music movements, which spread across the whole world. And obviously we took influences from America and Germany and stuff, but in terms of running it from a business, in terms of record labels and then all around the world, and it's international, like spider's web. It all comes from the UK, in my opinion. So yeah, it's absolutely vital. And like I say, all the clubs, it's really tough that everyone's short at the moment, and we're a bit lost, to be honest, emotionally, creatively, musically. But of course, I like to think that this blip in our history is building like a pressure cooker. So when we are allowed out the pen, it's just going to go off.
So do we think that we're going to come back with like a vengeance to clubs and venues and just like go kind of be like a renaissance period?
I think it will, yeah, definitely, yeah. I think it's just, I think everybody's, what's I found amazing, people are adapting. That obviously they're realising it's very tough at the moment, but they're finding ways, just to get through this, and we will come back stronger. I know we will, and only a matter of time, hopefully, fingers crossed. I do think we'll come back stronger, yeah.
I think so too. I mean, from a record label perspective and even a producer perspective, the music that I'm making and the music I'm signing and the music I'm searching for, even from Jansons and Mav there, it's all among the best music that, of a generation for me. And even though much of it isn't released, I think it's a lot to do with the pace at which people are making music at the moment. So we've kind of had a little bit of time, that a hurry to kind of get it out. Yeah. Isn't quite there. So, and also we're not necessarily just making music as a functional tool to kind of go off in a club. I think people are kind of slowing down and digging deep and making music for the cliche right reasons and all that, but they really are. And they're kind of exploring with musicians and like singers and better mix downs and more of a plan. So the record, I like to think, matters, and I can definitely speak for myself, definitely speak for Jansons. And a lot of the music, saying, yeah. Definitely, yeah. Man. Yeah. So hopefully, because of that, there's going to be a whole kind of history of among the best music we've heard in a long time. Yeah, I feel like there'll be some like proper like records being made now. When it, this year, I think you'll see some really special tracks. And like YOUSEF was saying, a lot more collaboration going, actually trying to work with singers or trying to get more instrumentation into it. Learning new bits of software, just new techniques. People before was, like I said, there's so much of a rush to get music out. Everybody's sort of taking a step back and really evaluating things. And I think you're going to hear some good stuff coming out soon, definitely. Yeah, man.
Do you think stylistically then the music that has been made this year is different to how it would have been kind of 2 years ago or last year? And is that a result of the lockdown and pandemic situation?
I think people definitely are experimenting more. I am myself as well. I think people trying to hear a bit more melody and stuff like that, and have a bit more sort of emotion to it. And it's nice because I feel like when you're a producer as well and you're trying to tour and stuff like that, you tend to make tracks that want to bang in a club and go off, and not so much about, you can be more experimental with your arrangement and do more stuff to it, because you've got that time now to think about it a bit more, like we were just saying.
Yeah, I echo that. I think I've got a real feeling that the next sound when we come back is going to be very much like song based, very much kind of almost with a nod to classic house, but maybe a bit more energy, more moments, and a kind of like slightly tougher production maybe, but gnarly vocal records. I think that's what's going to come out of all this, and music which people genuinely like feel in the gut. And because obviously at the moment the way to get music out there is just essentially just Spotify streaming and maybe a little bit Beatport and iTunes and stuff. So we're appealing to people who want to listen to music almost from start to finish, rather than kind of just that crescendo moment. So I think with taking all those variables into the clubs going forward, I think, I think it's going to be, like I say, a positive time for the music post opening the doors.
Yeah. And I mean, how has it been running a label, a dance music label, through a time when there are no clubs to kind of exploit this music?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I mean, it's been really hard in terms of trying to make it stack up. And one decision I made really early into this, like last March, when things started to get shut down, I noticed or I anticipated that a lot of other my DJ mates were going to pause their label, or they were going to stick to the same formula. Now, I was like, okay, well, we're not going to be in the same world. So I'm using this as a chance to kind of expand the horizons on Circus Recordings and kind of A&R the music a little bit more and make sure that the mix downs are more, they have a wider dynamic range. And what that means is that they're going to have like slightly higher vocals, maybe a little bit brighter in the mix. And essentially for those reasons I mentioned before, because our audience is going to be streaming based rather than club based. So I wanted the tracks to still kick, but also have, like I say, have the dynamic range and maybe more vocals, more story tracks, still mixed in with the kind of house and techno and stuff that I do normally. But it's been good to kind of like widen the scope a little bit. And like I say, I've never wanted Circus Recordings to be just a DJ label. I want it to be a proper record label. Mav knows how much I get at it and try to kind of make the most out of a project and really get involved. But yeah, so with that in mind, even though it's been hard and it's been almost impossible to break even, I definitely think in terms of audience, the label's made progress during lockdown, and hopefully after lockdown we'll recoup just because the label's profile's there. But again, it's a bit of a risky time to do that. But you know, what do they say? Fortune favours the brave. I don't know.
I think it's good that you've carried on like consistently releasing. There's been like high quality releases as well, because I've noticed a lot of labels have sort of slowed down their releases. But I think it is important to keep the output and like keep it quality high, like you said. Yeah, I think that's important, definitely.
Yeah, it's been risky and hard, and sometimes when I've seen the monthly statements, I'm like,
yeah.
But you know, at the same time, we're getting traction, and I'm a better label owner than I was before all this started, and I'm much more accomplished. I've learned a lot more. I've taken a lot more of a slap around the chops a few times financially, but I'm more prepared for the future, so that's all right.
Yeah. Was it a bit of a shock to the system to find that dance music streaming just kind of did drop down with the venues shut, or did you expect that to happen?
Has it dropped down? I mean, probably has a bit, but I'd say it's still like, because like I said, the style's changed, so it's a lot more like when people like arrange things now, they are thinking of streaming, so they're thinking of, you know, you want things to kick in the first 15 seconds, so you grab the listener's attention. And you can hear that in a lot of productions now, like things like for Bicep, for example, they've just released an album, haven't they? That's very much listening. It can do well on streaming. And yeah, a lot of music in here it's more catered for streaming now. I think it was going that way anyway, kind of, just through building your fan base, because let's face it, that's where most of the music is, Spotify. Things like Beatport, so much like a DJ focused thing, isn't it? So you want to try and build a fan base through the streaming platforms as well. Absolutely,
and I think Circus Recordings streaming numbers are up. They've actually gone up like that in a trajectory, but that's not because of the emotional connection with clubbers and the fact they've gone off. I've had to kind of really push and pay for
work for that.
Spotify specific pushes with the people that do that on every release pretty much. So it's been like a riskier investment to kind of get those numbers up, but they are going up, and it's paying for itself, so to speak. Whereas the spontaneity of the clubbers falling in love with a tune and finding it on the phone on the way home from the club or in the club or whatever they do, that isn't there. But again, we'll see. We'll see what the future brings. But I think what's important is keep building the quality, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And you touch on the future. I think today Spain have announced that they are expecting to welcome tourists from spring. Do we think we're going to have an Ibiza season?
I hope so. What do you think, Yusuf?
I don't know, because obviously the vaccine in Spain is not being rolled out very well, as far as I understand. I think all the promoters in Ibiza are kind of chomping at the bit and being very agile with preparing for, alternative ways to get people in a more of kind of Dubai sense, as in like bottle service and stuff like that, which is why a lot of Florida's open now, because American clubs are just cater the bottle service attitude anyway. I think that there could be, like I say, more agility in changing things up. But in terms of kind of the 5,000 capacity raves and stuff like that, I would say no.
What do you guys think about, when do you think, well, say in the UK, when do you think things will start sort of ticking again? Like clubs will start opening? Have you got like a gut feeling, or when do you honestly think it will happen?
Oh, for me, I mean, I'm ready to go at a moment's notice in terms of circuit stuff. But I think that at the very, very earliest, I'd be surprised in September. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. For me, it feels like
there might be some social distance things in
like
various cities. Like we did in Manchester and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and there might be some outdoor stuff, but in terms of, I honestly don't know. But it's very. I think the focus is keep an eye on the footy.
Yeah,
and because the Premier League have got a seat at the government table now. If they get the nod for any amount of funds, then it kind of it's paving the way for the rest of us.
That's I mean, that would be the first thing. Once that's going, we'll be going, wouldn't we? So
yeah.
I guess it's difficult to justify a different strategy for football versus an outdoor music event.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the idea is, that it means that the footprints are in the sand for moving forward. But they were very quickly reversed, obviously, as soon as lockdown came in, or there was the tier system and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But again, we remain hopeful. And again, who knows? Yeah.
Yousef, I know you've got to jump off, so I just want to ask you both one final question. As a dance music community, do we think that this pandemic has brought us closer together, or has it kind of pushed us further apart?
That's a tough one. I would say closer. I would say, I hope people sit back and realise now, and I hope when things start up, it is a bit more positive and it is more together. That's what I'm hoping for. I remain positive all the time. Definitely.
For me, without any question about it at all, it's really solidified our scene like never before. All kind of musical boundaries that were kind of in place, like genre restrictions and teams in terms of even just hanging out and communicating and helping each other out. It just evaporated. I was speaking to like DJ Slipmatt today, and he was one of my guys from when I was growing up. But it just shows that we're all in these various groups. Myself with lots of other kind of, want of a better phrase, like leading industry figures, all using all
come together,
power, experience to kind of put a shift in to do our best to help the electronic music industry. And we're using every bit of power and time and energy and effort we've got to make sure that if this happens again, that we are all supported in some ways. So yeah, I think from that perspective, it's been fantastic.
It's been good for like collaborations of that as well. Everybody's sort of like, you've just connected with, I feel like I've connected with a lot more people I wouldn't have before, the artists and just everybody. Just the connection's been stronger. I think everybody's brought collaborating
even without
together.
that face-to-face kind of meeting.
No, it's like obviously technology that we've got now has really helped. Like in the studio, you can just stream really easy with each other, and all the FaceTime stuff, and that's what I think it's been good. So I think it has brought people closer together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, like you say, I wouldn't much prefer having a drink with them at DC10 or something backstage is with where it's like the central point. I still love that. But overall, you just chat nonsense, and then but you do exchange that kind of like emotional laughs and all those things, and that's how you build the friendship. But I think because of all those friendships have been built over the years, for me, now that we're getting down to business to kind of help everybody else, there is that trust, and we can see each other's qualities, and it's been, like I say, really good. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing people in person.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man.
That first rave back.
Mind you.
Yeah, you know what I want to do? I really want to. I don't think it's going to be possible, but I want to get everyone in the room before we start the music.
So we all experience it.
The dance floor's full. Everyone's there together. There's no warm up. We get in. We say, "Okay, you ready? Let's go."
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Well, we're going to hope to anyway. I'm going to say it starts at 9, but not really. Starts at 10 or something like
that. Amazing. Nice. YOUSEF
Shouldn't have said that idea. That's going to be
yes, that's going to be stolen now. So many people are going to steal that idea. Thank you both so much for coming on the podcast. Just for everyone watching at home, there is this crowdfunder going to help Egg kind of keep afloat through this pandemic. If you can spare anything, please do donate via the links below. And a big thank you to YOUSEF and Jansons.
Thanks so much, Ben.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
All the best, Egg. Bye, guys.